We're going to start our grammar lessons with one of the most important concepts, and that is getting rid of our sentence fragments. This happens really commonly in essays, and what we need to do is go back through our essay at the end and make sure that there are no fragments or incomplete thoughts. So this is a complete thought, even though it's short. The woman walked. Every sentence or complete thought must have a subject and a verb. And if it doesn't, it's a fragment. It's an incomplete sentence. So here are some examples of fragments. Over the football stadium. Somebody might use that as a complete sentence when it's not, because it doesn't have a verb or a subject. The horse on the side of the dirt road with the heavy cart. It's long. It seems like it could be a sentence, but it's not. It doesn't have a verb, so it's not a complete sentence. The verb does the action in the sentence. The subject is the thing doing that action, or the verbing. So even though this is not long, the woman walked, it's a complete sentence and expresses a complete thought. The woman, the subject, is walking. Now, sometimes we do have a subject and a verb, but we still don't have a complete thought expressed because we have what's called a dependent clause. Whenever he feels like it, adds the word whenever to the beginning of this sentence here, so we don't have a complete thought. If I just said he feels like it, that would have been fine. That would have been actually expressing a complete thought. He would have been doing the action of feeling. He feels like it. When we add the word whenever to the beginning, we've caused it to be a dependent clause. A lot of these words like after and although and because, those are introducing something that's going to be a dependent clause. And so what we need to do is keep these things attached to something else, and that is going to be an independent clause. So here on the left side, we have our fragments that we had on the previous page. And on the right side, we have them being attached to independent clauses or sentences. So they're being used to actually describe something in a full sentence. So when we say, my brother thinks he can use my PlayStation whenever he feels like it, now I have a complete thought. In the second example, I've actually put the dependent clause on the beginning of the sentence. And so what the rule is basically to add a comma if you are adding the dependent clause to the beginning of the sentence, but you don't need to add a comma when it's the end of the sentence here. So no comma needed. The third example, although I didn't even know the guy's name, in that one, the dependent clause is at the beginning of the sentence. So I'm going to add a comma again. He acted like we were best friends. Now, we also could have put that at the end of the sentence. He acted like we were best friends, although I didn't even know the guy's name. Now, most of the time you don't need a comma at the end. If you'll notice in each case here, this one right here included, we don't need a comma there because the dependent clause is at the end. But sometimes you might add a comma for clarification. The teacher marked me down on my paper because I wasn't careful with my grammar. That one doesn't need a comma. The dependent clause is at the end. But let's say, for example, I put this dependent clause at the beginning and said, because I wasn't careful with my grammar, the teacher marked me down on my paper. In that case, I would put a comma after it because the dependent clause comes at the beginning of the sentence. So the basic rule is if you're introducing a sentence with a dependent clause, then what you do is put a comma after it. But if it comes at the end, generally speaking, we're not going to need to include that comma.